So the next one we're going to do is horse chestnut, that little guy over there. That's the horse chestnut, and we're going to walk towards it. I actually don't know that I have many facts about horse chestnut. Oh, I dropped my fruiting body. Other than that, it's normally an ornamental tree. I don't really see any naturalized out in the forest. So this is kind of, it's only ever planted really is what I'm trying to say. So again, we will zoom in on the leaf. Ooh, actually there's some fruiting bodies right here. So fruiting bodies, these are very distinctive fruiting bodies. So that just means that the seed is encapsulated somewhere in this little spiky ball. And that is very distinct. Not many trees have a fruiting body quite like this. So that is a very good ID feature. The leaf, as we move out, is a compound leaf. So remember, we were talking about like many leaflets per leaf. So this whole thing is one leaf. One thing we actually haven't talked about yet is the types of compound leaf. And maybe we'll get to that in like a separate video, but I'll cover it here just because it's here. There's two types of compound leaf. One is pinnately compound, and one is palmately compound. This is palmately compound, and you can kind of imagine it like a palm. There's this central node, and then a bunch of leaflets sticking out from it. You can kind of see that here. There's the central node and a bunch of leaflets sticking out from it. So that's palmately compound. Pinnately compound, if you remember last video, Susan, yeah, that's her name, showed a honey locust, which was kind of like one straight, it's not a twig, I won't call it a twig, rachis, one straight one straight leaf, one straight stem, with a bunch of little leaflets sticking out from it. So that's pinnately compound and palmately compound. So again, horse chestnut. One of the things, so the thing you're probably most likely to confuse this with is something called Ohio buckeye, which is totally different, but they're the only two trees with this palmately compound arrangement, I think. They're the only two trees you're really common to see. And the way you can differentiate them is this. It's actually really cool. Horse chestnut has a leaflet that is shaped kind of like an ice cream cone. You can see that, right? So, oh, don't want to snap it. So if I had that, this nice round top ice cream cone and this tapered stem. Ohio buckeye has a leaflet that's shaped more like a canoe. So it'll come out, it'll reach its kind of like thickest point here, but then it'll taper off again to this point at the end. So horse chestnut, ice cream cone, Ohio buckeye, canoe. Another thing, the bark isn't super important. We'll look at it in a second, but the bark isn't super important. One of the other key IDs, and we're kind of lucky that we can see this, is that horse chestnut has a huge bud. And you got it? Nice. So this, I know you can't really see it, so this is kind of like the last digit of my, or the last kind of section of my finger for reference. But that, you might not have an idea for it now, but that is a really, really big bud. So, big bud, if you can find them, spiky fruiting bodies, palmate leaf with ice cream cone leaflets, that is a horse chestnut. And if we move on to the bark for a second, just because we want to see it, I don't think I've ever used bark as a key ID, because it's kind of a mishmash, but the thing is, it has kind of like platelets. Like, we'll see it as we go on in the course, but a lot of trees have kind of continuous strips or kind of similar patterns. This is kind of like, this is an individual platelet, and then this is an individual platelet, and you know, this is an individual platelet. So that's kind of what horse chestnut bark looks like. But again, that is probably the worst case scenario. Don't try and use this as key ID. Use the buds and use the leaf. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Stop this crap. Okay. Horse chestnut thing. One thing I forgot to mention on the horse chestnut. Let's see if I can find a crappy leaf here. I can't. This is actually really good looking horse chestnut. That might be because it's young, but a lot of larger horse chestnuts, and we have a few of them around campus, around the building. Yeah, perfect. We'll have a horse chestnut blight. So imagine this kind of rusty red brown looking thing, but all over these leaves. And it's, yeah, exactly. Like you can see it's just starting on this guy. But yeah, so horse chestnut blight is another common thing. So they might not ever look this good. It doesn't directly kill the tree. Like it's not something like a fungus that'll spread into it and actually kill it from within. But it does hurt the tree kind of from a secondary nature because Obviously, the leaves are in charge of photosynthesizing, which gives the tree energy, but brown patches don't really photosynthesize the tree. So it just kind of hurts its ability to grow and deal with stress and that kind of thing. So horse chestnut blight, very common. This is a good looking tree.